things I think is important about these types of conferences is that it brings together practitioners from the field,
political scientists, economists, other kinds of social scientists.
Data providers as well as your public sector data providers and representatives, but also other companies, and exchange methodologies, exchange challenges, exchange opportunities, and chat about funding.
I think it's a unique opportunity for us to bring those different kinds of people together into the room for a conference like this. You often do need a hub that helps to integrate expertise and ideas, and that's what we're trying to serve with this conference.
I was interested in this conference because I don't think there are so many conferences like this actually which are mixing the remote sensing directly applies to development, at least not that I'm aware of. I think it's a pretty new field.
There's a heavy focus on workshops here where people are actually getting their hands dirty, playing with some remote sensing data and also data from the field, kind of putting those two data sets together. And doing those types of workshops in the room where you have a lot of experts in the room and also new users and young scientists, I think is vital and one of the unique features of this workshop.
Through the presentations I've seen today, I want to send them to colleagues. I have a colleague working on something very similar. I'd be sending him and say, hey, look at what this guy did. And I think that we're just opening new ideas that the guy had never thought of. He would never know that this is actually something that is possible. And that's the way I think that would be, for me, the most direct impact, is just making other friends and colleagues, say, aware of what is doable.
Social scientists often have a good idea, or think we have a good idea of what some useful and important questions are. We often don't have the skills or the expertise to bring in non-traditional sources of data or non-traditional tools. So the newest machine learning tools or some of the satellite imagery, we don't necessarily have the skills or immediately have the skills to work with these sorts of data. So collaboration outside our field is absolutely important to make strides on these really important issues. I think this conference really highlights that. You see folks from all walks of life, academic walks of life anyway, and I think that really highlights the need for this interdisciplinary collaboration.
We need to continue researching these methods and validating against the gold standard, what's in operation today, for making decisions about resource allocations, about political strength and political voice.
We haven't done a good job of solving these problems of economic well-being and environmental development so far. Our hope is that these new approaches and new ways of looking at it can help us make breakthroughs that were previously not possible.
What we'd like to see is more and more of the private sector partners like Planet, like Digital Globe, like Facebook, working together with the academics to push our new ideas into application and into use. That's going to be essential to get products that work for policymakers.
I think some of the benefits of geospatial data is that country-level statistics are important and useful, but there's a lot of variation within countries or within local areas, and so with geospatial data you can visualize that more, you can understand it, and you can dig down where there's more interesting trends.
One of the advantages of remote sensing data in international development is that a huge part of the world is really difficult to access. So there are often regions, for instance, if we're trying to track the emissions of carbon from the atmosphere from forests that are being burned, a lot of that is happening in incredibly remote environments where it's exceedingly difficult to get information from the ground. And so if we can do a better job of capturing it remotely, that's a win for everybody.
Well, that was a terrific set of presentations.